Hello, my amazing artist. So today we're gonna do our charcoal drawing. Okay, so you should have charcoals in front of you. You should have your papers, and we are ready to go. Okay, so we're gonna do a charcoal still life. Okay, so this right here, this picture is the still life that we're gonna do. In the still life, all that means is objects that don't move, and you put them in a certain way to make it a cool or something that feels good when you look at it. Okay, so the process is we're gonna do a line drawing, which is just we're gonna do the drawing first. Then we're gonna add the shadows or the values. Remember our value sheet that we did when we went from dark to light. We're gonna do that. We're gonna look at the dark parts and the light parts. And then refinement just means that we're just gonna try to make it look very good, okay? So the tools that we're gonna use today is you guys should have a charcoal stick, okay? We're gonna have paper. I gave you guys the paper already. Erasers. I have a couple of erasers. You can use whatever erasers you have available. And then a blender is just, you can use a napkin. I'm probably going to be using a lot of my finger, okay, to blend the charcoal together, okay? So for my virtual students, you guys will be able to use a pencil and just a paper. Hopefully you can use a white paper. If you don't have white paper, then just use lined paper. That'll be fine too, all right? So here we go. So I'm going to start with the apple, okay? So I'm going to look at the drawing, at the picture, and I'm going to try to put the objects somewhere there they go on the paper, okay? So the apple looks like it's right here by the side. So I'm just going to do a circle for now, okay? You know, I just realized that I might have made that a little bit too low because the book goes down further. So, see, even your teacher makes a little bit of mistake, and that's fine. So we go and we fix it. Okay? So right there, we have our circle for our apple. And now we're going to bring this book. So the book, just do a line that goes sideways. Okay? Okay. Then we're going to bring the book up this way. So you're just going to put another sideways line going that way. Okay? And then you can imagine that line back here kind of goes like that. Okay. And right here, you can look at your drawing, at your picture frame. At your picture, sorry. And that should be our book right there. So now we're going to make our papers. So our line right here. So I'm going to say that this book line is right around there. We're going to go up where our page is. We're going to go over and all the way almost to the end. But when you get towards the end, you have to stop. And then you have to come down at an angle like that. Okay? So right there we have our first pages. We can take this line back right there. And then there's another angled line that goes down that way. Okay? Actually, it comes out a little bit more that way. Yeah, a tiny bit more, like that. And then you can just make this line a little bit thicker right there. Perfect. Okay, so right there. So now that we have that shape, we can put our bread now. Actually, you know what? Let's put this part here. This page side right here. We're just going to go all the way down this way. And then it looks like it angles just a tiny bit. Okay? So right there, now we can put our bread. And our bread kind of just falls over the book. Comes up. Comes up a lot. Covers up that end of the book right there. Okay? So we're going to come here. And then this part of the bread comes here and up. And then over. Okay? And we can go and fix it. What I noticed is that I might have made the book a little bit too small. but that's okay. Okay? It doesn't matter what, we're not trying to make it perfect, okay? We're trying to do the best we can. Okay? If you want, you can kind of erase and try to fix it. Okay? We can try to fix it a little bit. I know it goes down more this way, and then it would come this, and then this one would be more this way. Okay? You can always fix your mistakes. Okay? And if you can't fix your mistake, then leave it in there. It's fine. Okay? Not a problem. Not the end of the world. Okay? As long as you're doing your best, that's all that matters in art class. Sorry about that. Okay? So right there. I think that actually looks a little bit better. Might have to move my apple a little bit, and that's okay. So I'm going to move my apple just a tiny bit more this way. You can do that as well. And my apple is now here. Okay. And our bread comes here and there. Okay, and that's the open part of the bread. Okay. So there you go. So now we have a bread, we have an apple, and we have our book. Okay. So now we're going to start adding those values or those shadows that we talked about in class. Okay. From the darkest to the lightest. Okay, those values. Now we're going to put them in the apple, on the bread, and on the book. Okay? So, with an apple, you can see that the shape goes like that, and then here comes up a little bit, right there, comes in. Okay? So right there. And now I'm going to put in where the stem is right there, because that part right there kind of gives us a nice indication of where the shadows would go. So right there, we have that little indication there. And now our shadow, our really dark shadow, is on this side of the apple. Okay? And you can use your finger to blend that in. Okay? Use your finger to blend that in. And kind of correct my lines here a little bit. Okay. Okay. The best way to hold the charcoal is not kind of like how you hold the pencil. It's kind of like a little bit sideways, kind of like you're holding it like that. Okay. So right here, we're gonna darken that up a little bit more. I see right here, this part right here goes dark right there. Right up here is a little bit of a dark spot. Okay. Then if you want, you can just go in, start blending. You can kind of bring in those lighter values, kind of like the ones closer to the white. Okay. Then you can darken parts that you see that are a little bit darker. Right there. We're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to make sure that we have a good shape and good values. So right there, I can see that this needs to be darker. Okay. I know this part right here is going to be kind of a little bit lighter, but that's okay. And we're going to come here. Okay, so right there, and then up here, like that, and then you can draw out the stem. Okay, kind of like making it a little bit bigger than it is there. So you can go ahead and do that. I'm gonna darken this part up a little bit. Okay, you can use your finger to get those those values where you want them, okay? And then I see here that this is a highlight right here. So I'm gonna erase part of that to show that shiny part, okay? It's gonna show that shiny part. And here, I'm just gonna go back in there like that. Try to bring out those lines on the top of that apple, okay? And that's our apple, okay? It's not, give me a second here. Let me fix some of these edges here. And edges, when I say edges, it just means the outer parts of the object. Okay, because sometimes an edge could be soft, meaning it kind of is a little bit blurry, or it could be a hard edge, which means that it is it's a harder edge, meaning that it's darker and light. You can see that corner. Okay. Okay. So that's the apple. So now we're gonna do the bread. Okay. We're gonna do this really quickly. So right here, you can see that that part is really in the dark right there. And then it goes into the light. Why? Because the book is shooting up some white in there. Okay. So this part right here is not as dark as this part up here. Okay. And guys, don't worry about it being perfect. Okay. All I want you to do is try your best. Okay. I know this is a little bit of a tougher drawing than we normally do, but I want you to just try. Okay. Just try your best. And in here, you can just probably use your finger, go around. You can make this part a little bit darker. Okay, it's a nice loaf of bread right there. Okay, you can use your eraser to bring out those highlights. This one kind of has a little bit of highlight going there and there. Okay, I want you to just try your best. Get that charcoal and just have fun with it. Have fun with that charcoal. Okay, so that's pretty good right there with the bread. Okay, so we got to make this part just maybe a little bit darker. Just a tiny bit. Then go down. Okay, so now we're going to work on shadows because the book has some shadows, or not really shadows, but give me a second here. So right there. So the book has shadows. Give me a second because I just realized my book looks kind of a little bit odd. And it's because my lines aren't right. But that's okay. You know what? We're going to leave it like that. It looks pretty good. Okay? So right now we're going to do the black part right here of the book. Okay, this part, the light is not hitting this part at all. This part is not in the light at all. Okay, so right there, we got that part. And then you can just put a little bit, not a lot. Put a little bit right there. And then this part right here is in the light. So don't have to worry about that part too much. So I'm going to go right there. Just bring that out a little bit in the light. Gotta make this line a little bit better because that's the bottom of the book. Okay? And now we're going to do the shadow that the bread is casting. It means that the bread is covering the light. So the light's coming from this side. And right here, the shadow would be there. Okay? So we're going to do that shadow that's right here. So you just go out, over, and in. And then that is really, really dark. So go ahead and press down on that. Okay. I notice that it's probably a little bit more this way. And a little bit more that way. And there you go. And that right there is your shadow for your bread. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit darker here for the bread there. There we go. Okay. And now we're going to do the shadow for the apple. Shadow for the apple is kind of in the same direction, meaning in the same, going the same way as the bread. So you just have to follow the shape of the apple. Mine had to go a little bit off the paper because I put the apple a little bit there and I made my objects a little bit more, but that's okay. So you come here, make that dark black right there. And there you go. You have your book with the shadow right there. Making it a little bit darker. We have our apple. And we have our bread. And in class, we're going to talk about why we chose these objects. Okay. Okay, so right there, we have our bread, our apple, okay, and our Bible. That's the Bible right down there. Okay. So now we're just going to do a line so it doesn't feel like the items are floating in space. So we're going to do that line right here because they were sitting on a table. Okay. So what I want you to do is you're going to just go ahead and just shade at the top here. Okay, you're going to shade back here. Just so it makes it feel like the items were sitting on something. So it's not like they're just up in the sky. Or up in the air, I should say, not in the sky. So you can go ahead and just mix that in. Whoops. Okay, so I see that it's blending in a little bit with the bread. So I'm just gonna go in there and just make that line a little bit darker. Okay, just to differentiate it a little bit. Okay, and then on the bottom, I'm just gonna very lightly, okay, very lightly, just put a little bit of tone or a little bit of value. Okay. Okay, and that's it. So we have our apple, we have our bread, and we have our Bible. Okay, so pretty much what I want you guys to learn is the different values from light to dark that an object has, especially when it's being hit by the light. Okay, I hope you had fun using charcoal today. Okay, I don't know if we're going to be finished in one class. We might have to use 2 classes, but I'm going to be walking around the class. So I'm hoping that I helped you guys out enough so you guys can do a pretty good job. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys had fun. I will see you guys in class, and I will sign off. Have a great afternoon, kiddos.